When it comes to our exploration of space, things are arguably looking better than ever before. We have multiple telescopes out there via the Hubble and the James Webb Telescope that are helping us explore things that we've never been able to view or see before. And as if that wasn't enough, we have the two Voyager spacecraft that are literally billions of miles away from Earth and giving us a look at the planets, stars, and even the outer rim, if you will, of our own solar system to show us what lies beyond it. Allow us to show you some of the Voyager spacecraft's shocking discoveries in space. Before we talk about all that has been found by the probes out in space, we honestly need to go and talk about the Voyagers themselves. Because while you may know that they find interesting things out in space, you may not realize everything that went into their launch, and how we've communicated with them despite them being a long ways away from Earth. For those that don't know, Voyager 1 is a probe that humanity sent out to observe the universe at large, and it's currently well past Pluto and has shown us many things about our solar system. In 2017, it was set at around 138 AUs from our planet. AU means astronomical unit, which in this case means the distance from the Earth to the Sun. So 138 AUs means that it's 138 times further than the Earth is from the Sun right now. That's a really big number. Over 12 billion miles to be exact. That's the farthest anything from man has traveled in space, and it's still going right now. It's traveling at a steady clip, and as a result, is showing off more and more of what it can do and how useful it is in exploring the cosmos. One of its crowning achievements was a photograph showing a set of sunbeams, and in one of those sunbeams was Earth. It was a dot in a grander scale photograph of our solar system. That's how small we are in the scale of our system when you look from outside in. We're just a dot. That may sound like a simple discovery, but when we are able to comprehend our place in the universe, true revelations can be had. As for Voyager 2, despite it launching before Voyager 1 by 16 days, it was set on a similar mission to explore the solar system, albeit via a different route that took it past Neptune and Uranus, and currently it's about 10.5 billion miles away from Earth. Still quite a distance away, and due to its different path, it's able to see different things and previous things from a different perspective. The point here is that these two probes are the furthest things that humanity has sent into the solar system and into space as a whole. They have traveled incredible distances and are still revealing things about our solar system that continue to both boggle the mind and astound us. Which is good, because that was the point of them, to allow us to see lots of things. One of the most important things about these particular probes right now is that they are in interstellar space, meaning that they are indeed beyond our solar system from a certain point of view, and they're seeing all sorts of interesting things and helping us learn even more about our universe. But of course, that raises a very fundamental question in terms of science and distance. If the Voyager 1 and 2 are in interstellar space, how the heck are we communicating with it? Distance matters in communications, as we all know, and the farther you travel from a point, the harder it is to communicate. It's not as easy as just pressing a button and hearing back from the probes, though we'd certainly like that. So, from us here on Earth, how are we talking to something that's deep in space? The simple answer to that is the Deep Space Network, also known as the DSN. This is a series of radio antennae that work together to not just send signals into space, but receive the signals from the craft, and even give it instructions on what to do next. Just as important, though, is this. The network of antennae are all over the world. Centers at each DSN site receive incoming information. Then, they send it to the Spaceflight Operations Facility at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in Pasadena, California. There, the photos and other data are processed and shared with scientists and the rest of us. Granted, it takes a few days to reach them and get the data back, but it's a worthy risk given all we've gotten from these probes. So now that you know what they are, what else have they found? Well, in one case, they heard a hum in space that honestly shouldn't exist. Many think that it is caused by waves existing in interstellar space. More specifically, the waves are vibrations in small amounts of gas found in the near emptiness of interstellar space. The vibrations are also known as plasma waves. The waves themselves are able to be converted into a sound, but not one that humans can hear on its own, which makes it all the more important that Voyager 1 picked it up. If we could hear the hum, it would sound like a single steady note playing constantly but changing very slightly over time. NASA said in a statement the new discovery may be the first continuous measurement of the density of material in interstellar space. One of the team who helped make the discovery noted, "This detection offers us a new way to measure the density of interstellar space and opens up a new pathway for us to explore the structure of the very nearby interstellar medium." Another thing that both of the Voyager probes discovered in the last month of 2020 was an electron burst that got many people's interests, mainly because it was seen as being a way to go and read into the flaring of certain stars. The bursts occur when cosmic ray electrons, fast-moving particles from far beyond the solar system, are pushed by shock waves generated by solar eruptions. The electrons then accelerate further along cosmic magnetic field lines to incredible speed, study team members said. The idea that shockwaves accelerate particles is not new. Corresponding author Don Gurnett, professor emeritus in physics and astronomy at the University of Iowa, said in a statement, "But we detected it in a new realm, the interstellar medium, which is much different than in the solar wind, where similar processes have been observed." Why does this matter? Simply put, the process to make these electrons burst is complex, and the result of them being shot into space, mixing with solar winds and other entities, makes them able to be propelled through space at basically the speed of light. Physicists believe these electrons in the interstellar medium are reflected off of a strengthened magnetic field at the edge of the shock wave, and subsequently accelerated by the motion of the shock wave, the University of Iowa said in the same release. The reflected electrons then spiral along interstellar magnetic field lines. Gaining speed as the distance between them and the shock increases. While the science is obviously what they're focusing on here, the fact is that these radiation bursts can also go and hurt both people and our own planet. Radiation is bad when in the wrong type and doses, and as such, we're trying to study them so that we can better be prepared for when we send more people into space. As well as putting more people onto places like the Moon, the International Space Station, and so on. All in all, the Voyager space probes are obviously one of the most essential things in the history of our space program and the exploration of space itself. The tragedy here is that eventually both of the probes will stop collecting data. At present, Voyager 1 is expected to stop collecting data at around 2025. This is sad because it's been collecting data, taking pictures, and giving new looks into space for decades, and so for it to end is a tragedy. Voyager 2 likely won't be too far behind it in terms of the craft dying out. It's honestly a miracle that these two have lasted in space for this long. It certainly hasn't been a smooth trip for both sides. But at the end of the day, there's still time to make new discoveries and showcase just how important these older crafts still are. Because even with our advances in space technology, it'd be quite some time before we would be able to launch something into space and catch up to where the Voyagers left off. So, let us salute them and enjoy every discovery they make. We don't know how much longer we'll get them. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at the Voyager 1 and 2 spacecraft and how they have discovered a litany of things in space? Do you think that there are still some major things for them to discover when the time and positioning is right? Or do you feel that there are other instruments like the new James Webb Telescope that might give us more insight into what's out there? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.